Peace, everybody. How y'all doing? So we're gonna do a continuation of the zodiac series by going through all planets through the sign of Aquarius. Now, the sign of Aquarius is dealing with fixed air. So you can think of it like, when we think about air, we think about planes in the sky. You can think about just an actual plane. It's like not scattered air, and it's not like pressured air, like air coming out of an air pump, like Libra, and not scattered air, like Gemini, but it's like fixed air. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm gonna have to switch locations real quick. But yeah, Aquarius is fixed air. So these are people who are into their own thoughts. They're in their own head constantly, 24/7. They're in their own head. And with them being in their own head, this is going to create energies where Aquariuses are very intellectual and very unique and not going with the crowd. However, this can also create energies of self-awareness, also arrogance, and also selfishness and aloofness because they're in their own head. So they're not really like, their thoughts are not being shown out to the whole world and everything like that. Or put it this way, their thoughts are not like in alignment with the thing. When I say their thoughts are not in alignment, it's like this is that distant energy where it's like they're unique, they're original, and they have all those aspects to them. But then when you start to get to the fixated air quality, and then you put in Saturn in the mix too, you start to get an energy where people could be very callous and very cold with their words and everything, and with their own thoughts. You know what I'm saying? You can't really budge too many Aquariuses when it comes to their own thoughts. Now it's getting into the planets going through, and then it's air. So, you know what I'm saying? Aquariuses are very intellectual. A lot of scientists, a lot of people. What's his name? Thomas Edison. Now, he did not create the light bulb per se, or electricity period, but he developed a patent for light bulbs to be distributed and everything like that. So then you got that. There's that electricity, Aquarius, and then you got Saturn, fixated air. So he had his own thought, but even though he knew probably that this wasn't his original idea, he had the idea, that Saturn energy, to make it structured and everything and make it into a business, because Aquariuses are very business-like too. That's what a lot of people don't really recognize, is that Aquariuses are very much business-like, but it's not like the traditional business suit and tie wearing thing, but it's kind of like more entrepreneurial, doing things on their own unique schedule kind of thing. Now getting into the sun. When the sun is in Aquarius, this is your actions, and the sun is actually away in Aquarius. It's detrimented. It's at work. And detrimented energies are not negative. This is kind of like you put in the hard work and effort and the hustle into this energy, and you'll be able to experience the Aquarius energy to the fullest. But what this means is that the sun is an energy that deals with vitality, creativity, the ego, being seen, being the center of attention, and also actions that you take. Now, Aquariuses may not be too, like sun sign Aquariuses may not take action right away, and then it may not be absolute immediate action. They'll probably like go in their head, calculate, think about the circumstance and everything, and then decide if they actually want to go through with a particular plan that they have in their head when it comes to taking action. And then people who have a sun in Aquarius, they're seen as very aloof and also very intelligent too, because this is your actions, and this is how other people see you. You also see yourself as someone who wants to not really be too much with the crowd. Now getting into the moon. When you have the moon in Aquarius, these are your emotions. This is your this is your emotional capacity to be able to feel vibrations and be able to receive emotions and everything. So when you have the moon in a sign like Aquarius, your emotional responses is more dealt with like the emotions, like you're fixated on your own emotions and everything, and you're constantly thinking about how you feel and how this only makes you feel, and you're not really taking other people's emotions too much into consideration. And it's not like moon in Capricorn where it's like we just need to focus on getting the job done. We need to focus on being structured before we can be emotionally supportive right now. When you have the moon in Aquarius, people can be very emotional, but it's like they'll sulk in their own emotions and everything, and then that water will fill up that balloon, and then make the air drop, and then the Aquarius moon could feel very heavy. So it's very important for Aquarius moons to be able to healthfully release their emotions on a periodical basis. Now Mercury. Now with Mercury in Aquarius, Mercury is a thinking planet. It is an intellectual planet. It is a communicative, thinking-based planet. So with Mercury in Aquarius, this is actually a good placement because it's fixated there. Now, there's a gift and a curse. There's always a positive and a negative to a particular situation. Mercury in Aquarius, these people are always thinking about the future. They're always thinking about how they can further the future and everything. However, at the same time, people with Mercury in Aquarius will tend to interject their conversation kind of almost at inappropriate times because they're thinking so much on what they want to say that they may actually not take into consideration, and then they may blurt out, and then when the other person is trying to explain themselves again, there's like a lost trackness and everything like that. And the Mercury in Aquarius can't necessarily remember what the person was trying to say based upon them having their own thought in their head and planning out what they were going to say or think. Now, when you have Venus in Aquarius, this is your value systems. This is your capacity to be able to be very generous and very charitable and everything like that. And also, it's a very sweet, tender planet. Now, when you have a planet like this in Aquarius, these people love associates. These people love the people that they work with too, because associates could be the people that you work with too at the same time. It doesn't necessarily have to be people that you hang out when you're with a friend, and these friends that you have know other people, and then these people are associates. These are like that Saturn energy will bring business-like energies into that field. So when you have Venus in Aquarius, these are people who appreciate associates. They appreciate being able to have a person that they can call on for a particular project and everything like that. Now, they still might be aloof, but at the same time, they care for humanity too at the same time, but they just do it in their own way. And sometimes it may not be the best way to be able to express it, but they're very charitable. Because Aquarius kind of deals with that charitable donation-like energy, and with Venus in Aquarius, that energy is almost like shown, that energy signature is like shown to the fullest. But you could indulge too much and be so selfish to where when you're being charitable and you don't receive that energy back, you could get highly irritated and highly resentful. Okay, now Mars in Aquarius. Now with Mars is dealing with war-like energy, the energy that you like to, wherever sign Mars is in, this is the energy that you fight for. Wherever house is in, that's the area of life that you fight for, that you fight with and everything. This is like your soldier. This is the commander, that not your soldier, but this is like you are the general in this particular area of life, basically, in your own circumstance. Now, when Mars is in Aquarius, you like to fight for revolution. These people with with Mars in Aquarius, these are the kind of people that you would see at the front line. These are the people who lead the mob and everything like that. Like an angry mob that you see on TV and everything, or in real life, or protesters. These are like the people that you see in the front lines and everything. They're very passionate about associates. They're very passionate about knowing people to call upon whenever there's a situation needed. So, and they're highly passionate. They have a lot of energy, so they don't even have to hesitate to call up somebody, even if they haven't talked to this person for years and years and years and years and years. They still have the energy and the passion and the confidence to be able to call this person up, even if they may have had problems previously, and be like, hey, I need to call you up for this particular project. Mars in Aquarius almost plays out like Mars in Capricorn, except not as intense. Okay, now getting into Jupiter in Aquarius. Now, when you have Jupiter in Aquarius, Jupiter is Jupiter is a expansion-based planet. Jupiter is the planet of knowledge, wisdom, understanding. Jupiter is the planet of religion, philosophy, the 9th and the 12th house, dreamy, illusionary, internal travels, and jumping on a plane and going to another country or state to see new sceneries. That's that mutable fire with Jupiter ruling Sagittarius. But when you have Jupiter in Aquarius, you like to learn so much about yourself. You like to expand your own thoughts. You like to expand your mind. Now, you just got to make sure that you're still open to other people's experiences and other people's ways of how they dealt with life and everything, because you could expand your own mind so much, and that's good to expand your mind, but you don't want to expand your mind and then the things that are expanded in your mind is the end all be all, basically. But people who have Jupiter and Aquarius are very intelligent people, and highly creative people too, because they're constantly expanding on technology and ways to be able to manipulate technology in order to create an expansion of this. A good way to describe this is Jay Dilla, hip hop producer. He had Jupiter in Aquarius, and he was able to take a beat machine, an MPC 3000 or whatever machine he was using at the time, and be able to make it work for him. And he was able to expand on that. And now people have a new way of how to create hip hop music through him being able to expand that piece of technology called a beat machine and everything, or a drum machine. So that's an example of that energy. Now, Saturn. When you have Saturn in Aquarius, Saturn rules Aquarius. So with Saturn ruling Aquarius, this is going to make things a little easier. This is where people who have Saturn Aquarius, these are very patient people. They're very patient with their own thoughts. They're patient with other people's thoughts, but they can be kind of hardcore too, and they can be a pretty in your face when it comes to their own particular thoughts. And since it's Saturn, this is the ruler of Aquarius. So this is like the king on the throne as far as the land of Aquarius. So Saturn right here is very righteous in this energy and everything. Saturn is very keen and very on point and sharpened in this area. And then with Uranus, we'll get to Uranus in a second. And Uranus, with its second in command, Saturn is able to make sense out of their own thoughts and even other people's thoughts. Even though it's fixated air, Saturn makes so much sense out of reality that it can understand where other people are even coming from with their own thoughts, because it understands reality and the patterns of reality. Now, when you get into Uranus in Aquarius, this is generational energy, but also Uranus rules Aquarius, or co-rules Aquarius. So a generation with Uranus in Aquarius, these are like the millennials, we would say. Or because the millennials really started in 1995, so like I'm kind of like a cusp of a millennial, and I still got to do more research on what the other part of the generational aspect is. But these are people who are like the true revolutionaries, the young people leading the revolution of the new world that we're going into. And then with people who have Uranus in Aquarius, y'all are just straight up y'all are just Aquariuses, period. Y'all are unique. Y'all wear colorful clothes. Y'all don't really like to do business other people's ways. Y'all like to create y'all's new ways of how to do business. And y'all are very revolutionary people, period. Neptune in Aquarius. Now, when you have Neptune in Aquarius, this is the dreamy like aspect of Aquarius. This is like the cusp of Pisces and Aquarius. Because it's that energy where it's like the fixed air is in a place to where it's like a message in a bottle that's floating in the ocean and everything. And this message is able to receive this energy. And then the message may be, shaped in one way or another based upon them dealing with their own emotions and other people's emotions too. However, generations who have Neptune and Aquarius, they like to take their creative aspects and channel it through technology, channel it through their associates, channel it with their friends. This generation of people might be people who this generation of people might be a group of people who one second. This generation might be a group of people who like to channel their creative energies into, like I said, technology. They like to had to adapt to the environment real quick. They like to channel their emotions and their creative aspects via like telephones, cell phones. And also they like to express their dreams to their friends too at the same time. And even their associates. Now getting into Pluto in Aquarius. Now when you have Pluto in Aquarius, Pluto will transform that ass for you and everything. And then like everything that you thought of in your life, every idea you've had in your life, every concept you've probably had in your life will ultimately get transmuted and transformed right before your eyes when you have Pluto in Aquarius. This is the energy that Pluto is going to be going into soon. However, we still got time, and I'm glad I'm breaking this down so we can further prepare ourselves with this energy. But there's going to be a lot of transformation in fixated air, but at the same time, there's going to be like, when there's regeneration, it's not absolutely destroying everything, it just comes out brand new, like adding pressure to a diamond. So it's like your thoughts will ultimately be transformed, but for the greater good of yourself and for other people around you. Now, finally, the ascendant in Aquarius. Now, when you have the ascendant in Aquarius, these are people who even their physical appearance is very slim. Their physical appearance is very slim, very unique structure and everything. But even people's first impression of you is like, you're very unique. You're very friendly. People who, now, that super friendly aspect of Aquarius that people talk about, that actually really comes from people who have ascendant in Aquarius. People who have an ascendant in Aquarius, these people are very friendly because Aquarius is in their first house. And there's an opportunity for their personality to be shown in a pleasant way in their associates and everything like that. So that's how people with the ascendant in the first house deal with that energy too. And then these people are very smart too, and they know how to deal with people. They know how to work with people regardless of what age they are. Children too. And then, just the way the house system works, Aquariuses are very their value system is very mutable in an emotional way because Pisces is in the second house. So that would represent people who have an Aquarius ascendant. What they value is being able to connect to other people's emotions. So this is what I'm saying. That super friendly aspect of Aquarius comes from the ascendant in Aquarius. I'm not saying Aquariuses aren't friendly and everything, but we got a long way to go. But for real, I mean, I'm an Aquarius Sun and Mercury, so like I feel like I can confidently speak on us, fellow Aquariuses and everything, when it comes to that aspect. Because when you look at astrology, the way people break down astrology, it's not just based upon a sun sign. It's based upon that archetype. And that archetype, that friendly archetype, is more resonated into ascendant. And also people who have Venus in Aquarius too. But I'm going to catch y'all later. The Pisces video will be coming soon, most likely later on tonight, and I will catch y'all later. And email me at betheall1112@gmail.com for a $25 reading. Peace.